Welcome to another daily dose of greatness quest. This is Trevor Crane, and today we're going to talk about and celebrate in detail my son's first tooth. Yes, it came in. We're going to talk about firsts and what you're doing to capture them. And I know you're going to get a lot out of today's show, even though it's all about my baby Maverick and his first tooth. First tooth.
Cowboy.
Welcome to a daily dose of greatness quest with your host, Trevor Crane, my daddy. He is going to help you take your life and business to the next level.
Here I come to save the day.
Trevor Crane here, 11-time #1 best-selling author and the founder of Epic Author Publishing, coming to you live every day so you can plug in every day to build your ideal business so you can live your ideal life.
If my daddy can do it, then anybody can do it because he's a weirdo.
You're supposed to make me sound cool.
Okay, welcome back. Just this weekend, I was at a War Room event for a group of business owners and marketers, and it's this mastermind event, and I was in California with my baby. And he's 5 months old. Actually, he just turned 6 months old just a day ago. But a few days ago when I was at this event, I was carrying him around in this little mini-me get-up, which is, I think it's called a baby Bjorn. He sags from the very front of me, and the two of us walk around, and everybody tells us we look like twins. And that either means I look like a fat 5-month-old baby, or he looks like a 46-year-old man. I'm not sure which one it is. It may be a combination of both. So I'm carrying him around, and what's nice is that he's just entertained when he's dangling from me there. And what's nice is that I get to live a life where I can hang out with him all the time. We travel with him. As you can see, we were at this event. He's been all over the place. He was in the Bahamas. He's been on maybe a half a dozen trips so far on airplanes. And what's also nice is that I get to work out of my house, and so I get to see him all day long. Now, it's not my job to watch him all day long. It is, we have a nanny to help us with that, but I'm with my kid. So I'm just grateful that I have the ability to be back and forth with him and my daughter, who's 11 years old, on a regular basis. But at any rate, I'm carrying him with me, and that's what's making him entertained, and it's entertaining to be hanging out. I'm the only guy there carrying around baby. So I don't give a shit about whether or not anybody thinks that's appropriate or not. I'm at this business event, and actually we were networking at that stage and just having a glass of wine and stuff like that. But my son likes to just basically grab everything and put it in his mouth. If you've ever had kids, you probably know what I'm talking about. And I put my finger in his mouth because he's reaching for everything, and he bites me. Now he's obviously gummed me in the past, but he bites me, and one of the teeth that he had on the very bottoms there broke through. And so I was pretty excited, and so I hollered it out. So there was a gal serving us wine, and another new friend of mine was standing there that I had just met, and we were kind of chatting and networking, and I was like celebrating, like my son just he popped his first tooth. And what I failed to do was go find my wife. I celebrated in the moment. I get pretty excited. And so I was yelling about his tooth as if it really matters to you or anybody, but it was really cool to me. And it would have been pretty exciting for my wife, except because I'd gotten it out of my system. Like I just woohoo, and I looked around and I wasn't sure where she was. She was interacting with other people in another place. And I didn't go find her. And so what happened about an hour later, maybe an hour and a half later, my wife was with the kid. I forgot to even say it to her, and she comes up, and as soon as she finds out, who does she go to celebrate it with? Me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I already know that. Well, this didn't go over too well. I'm not necessarily in trouble, but she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I know, I figured it out a couple hours ago or an hour and a half ago. And she's like, what? And you didn't come find me? And I was like, I did celebrate it with the gals pouring our drinks. Now, here's why I'm bringing all this up today. First of all, it's capturing a moment in time that I think is pretty precious. We have these benchmark moments, and my son is 6 months old, and I experienced it, and I think I'm a pretty emotional guy. I'm more in touch with my kid than maybe other men are. Maybe that's not exactly accurate, but I kind of feel that way. And I also celebrated it in the moment, but I failed to celebrate it with my family. And it makes me realize that my son is 6 months old, how many little benchmark moments we've had, and some we've captured and some we haven't. And what I realize is and this is my kind of, my realization of having my wife come and celebrate this with me right away, and how I didn't, that I was the jackass. I tend to still make mistakes like this and not remember how important it is to capture these moments and memories. And my son's 6 months old. Like, he's not going to remember this moment by any stretch, although I now have it captured in perpetuity. If you ever listen to, be 10 years old and listen to the podcast I made, 9.5 years ago, you might be into it. But other than that, he's not going to remember it. However, the truth is my son's learning so fast every day. I recognize that we are making deposits into the memory banks of our children. That I'm doing that every day with my daughter. Now, she's 11 now. Her memories that she creates today moving forward are going to last a lot longer than those that were created when she was an infant, or 1 or 2 or 3. But I think this is an important thing for us to remember as parents. And if you're not a parent yet, you probably will be someday. And you probably know kids, so you can still get by on learning from this. And also trying to figure out how you can take my little lesson about first tooth and figure out like how you want to deal with the breakthroughs in your life. Because we're also 7 months into the year. We're halfway through 2018. And there's a lot of benchmark moments of things that have come and passed, and whether or not we have captured them. Now, I have a goal to write in my journal every day. And part of my journaling is also this daily dose of greatness quest, where I'm just capturing what's going on in my life. And that's my kind of little auditory journal to capture things of what's going on and what's important to me and how things are making a difference in my life or business. And then I'm sharing those with you as I progress. But I'm also recognizing, like, in the last 6 months of my son's life, my wife and I kind of have forgotten some things. We don't, there was a point where my son had his first smile. Did I write it down? Do I remember how old he was? I don't think so. I didn't write it in the little book. And we have a little memory book. People give you gifts when you have a kid. And one of the little books that either we bought or someone gave to us is a little memory book of all these firsts. And yet I don't know that have been as disciplined of capturing them. And I know that some of these things are getting lost. I heard my wife talking to her mother the other day on the phone, and her mom asked her, she said, you better write that down about when your son walks for the first time, because he's sitting up and he's not walking yet. He just turned 6 months old, but he's standing up and he wants to walk. Like, he's stepping. If we hold his hands, he'll walk around. That'll happen. But we're pretty impressed. We have this advanced kid. We'll see if he ever stands up and walks on his own without our help, or when that happens. But my wife asked her mom, she's like, do you remember when I walked for the first time, or when I broke my first tooth, or got my first tooth? And her mom said no, because she didn't capture it. She didn't write it down. Like, it may or may not be in a memory book, knowing her mom, maybe it is. But I think it's important for us to remember to do a couple of things. Number one is to celebrate the benchmark. What do you call it? There's another word for benchmark here. It's the different transitions in our life, to capture them. We want to celebrate them. We want to capture them. And I think we want to share them with people that we love. Because I don't know that the gal pouring my wine would be someone who's going to remember this for forever, that I had my son's first tooth. And does it really matter? I don't know. It matters to me. And it certainly mattered to my wife, and I certainly had an opportunity to score with my wife, and I mean, just a point. Or if I could have run to her and we could have celebrated his first tooth, but instead we have the memory of me being a jackass and not sharing it with her, and then her coming there shortly thereafter and sharing it with me. So I don't know what the lesson in this is for you. I know that for me, I'm one of the things I am doing today, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to go find this doggone book that we have to capture the first of our son, and I'm going to contribute to writing some of these memories down so that I can remember them. And then I'm going to take that to my wife, and I'm going to celebrate it with her, and I'm going to experience it with someone that I love. So here's my challenge for you today. I'll at least give you what I'm going to do. Maybe you need to make a decision on what you're going to do. But I think the important thing when we have these benchmark moments in our life, that we celebrate them, that we capture them by writing them down. So today I'm writing in my journal about this. And then we share them with someone that we love. And if you've got a significant other and your baby gets his first tooth or her first tooth, go tell your wife right away, or your husband. And that's all I got for you today. Tomorrow, oh my gosh, tomorrow we're going to talk about how you go from invisible to in demand, from invisible to an instant expert. My wife is going to speak at this conference that's coming up, and we've been talking about the content that she's going to teach. And the challenge that most business owners have and that most people have is truly invisibility. It's obscurity. It's that nobody knows you. Nobody knows your stuff. And we're going to talk about what it takes to instantly go to someone who is an expert and considered an expert in your niche, and what will help you become visible instead of invisible. I'm pretty excited about it, and I can't wait to share it with you tomorrow. Please go and review our podcast. Leave us a positive comment. Share this with someone else you know, love, and care about, so we can help them take their life and business to the next level. Let's do this together, brothers and sisters, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
To get even more awesomeness, which means all my best stuff, download my app by texting Trevor to 36260. It will show up right on your cell phone. Just text message the word Trevor to 36260. Talk to you soon.